Welcome to Thursday, the third day of March 2022. Your podcast today, sponsored exclusively by Cowboy State Daily, Wyoming's news authority. Visit them at cowboystatedaily.com and on their Facebook page. Well, there's a lot to unwrap with the way the weather's going to be unfolding here in the coming days as the pendulum will swing. Boy, this is weather whiplash at its finest. A week ago, many of you were below zero or near zero. Today, many of you will see highs in the 60s and 70s. Then by this weekend and into next week, we're going to be 40 to 50 degrees colder again. So weather whiplash at its finest. Now, temperatures are going to stay warmer through Friday, so enjoy today and enjoy most of tomorrow for most of you. The exception on Friday will be the western slope. West of the divide, showers and clouds will begin to move in. Now, stock growers, you need to be prepared for a long spell of winter weather again. Livestock interest, this is going to be another week to 10 days where it won't be as severely cold as it was with the last wave of winter weather, but there's going to be more snow, some more opportunities for those wet, cold conditions that can be really stressful in young and lean livestock, so be prepared. Heavy snow is going to fall in some areas, especially parts of Wyoming and surrounding states, and a small area will show you that. We're going to have travel problems. I-80, I-25, I-70. Also, I should have thrown in I-90 as well. Those areas Friday night through Sunday night are going to be tricky, and there's going to be some heavy snow, especially along I-80. Another storm system with some really cold air for March may arrive by the middle of next week, and heavy mountain snows are returning. Finally, we're going to see those snowpack numbers start to creep up again, as the mountains are going to see the best snow they've seen, well, going back to December and early January. Today's satellite photo really shows a remarkable photo when you take a look at it. I want you to really concentrate on the Pacific. Here's the first low right here that we're going to be affected by Friday night and Saturday. Here's the next system coming in behind it that is going to come in Sunday night and Monday. We've got another low out here in the Aleutians that will come down. This is the one that's coming towards the middle of next week. We also have this low near the Hawaii area. So the Pacific is turning out a lot of action, especially here up in the Gulf of Alaska. And the way the jet stream is evolving, all of this is going to come down just like this. And this is a really active pattern. It's a typical pattern that you'll get sometimes in March. And this is what's going to really get things going again. So here's the upper level 500 millibar chart. This represents the atmosphere at 18,000 feet where most of our weather really gets going. This low by afternoon today will be just off the coast of California. California going to get some rain out of this, some Sierra snows. As we go forward, this is going to push in warm air out of the deserts. So this is why it's so warm. Our air is coming up out of the desert southwest. A week ago, it was coming out of the Arctic. So talk about a huge difference in air mass change from the Arctic last week to the deserts this week. And you can see the above average temperatures. And this is where we're going to be tomorrow. By late tomorrow afternoon and evening, still very warm out into the plains, but you can see the intrusion of the blue and green there into California and the Pacific Northwest and into Montana. By Saturday morning, the low that's off of California today is a small but vigorous and moist system coming in off the West Coast rapidly Friday night and the Saturday morning, and here's the next low behind it. You may be wondering, why do we get these storms in March that tend to be more moist as compared to January or February? As the atmosphere begins to get a little bit warmer, especially in the lower latitudes this time of year, one thing that you need to remember is that the warmer the air is, the more water the air can hold. And that in March and April and May is one reason why the water content of the snows get better and the precipitation chances get better. Those lower latitudes down near the equator start to get a little bit warmer. That warmer air keeps a little bit more north, and the volume of water available goes up remarkably from January and February. That's why we get into this wetter time of year as we change seasons. And here's a good example of what's going on. This is a prediction of water vapor in the air. We show you this a lot in the summer when it comes to thunderstorm season. This is by noon today. You can see the blue and the green here showing the highly energized moisture that's developing with this system. But we have this dry desert air wedge that is coming right through here. So what that's doing is that's going to bring higher humidity air in here by late tomorrow and into Saturday. This is by Friday night. Look at the change in air mass from now to Friday night. And you can see this area right here. This is where we're going to get some heavy snow. Also some good snows back up here as well as we get into Friday night and Saturday. This is what the precipitation looks like. This would be melted, measured if it fell in the form of rain. We continue to see this area right here. This is an axis of heavier snow. Most of it comes Friday night through Saturday afternoon into these areas here. But we have that secondary low that's going to come across the area Saturday night and Sunday. So there's actually two snow events. Friday night, Saturday, then again late Saturday night, Sunday into early Monday. You can see all of the western United States and Rockies getting some decent moisture out of this. And this is what the snowfall totals look like. A nice swath of snow up here as the Arctic air is overrun by Pacific moisture. But you can see from the Sierras, through the Great Basin, through the Wasatch, through the Tetons, through the Bighorns, Yellowstone Park, then all of the mountains of Colorado, northern Arizona, and New Mexico get into the act. Stock growers, especially in this area right here, be ready for colder, wet, windy conditions Friday night, Saturday, lingering into early Sunday morning. Focusing in a little bit closer. Now, this axis of heavier snow, it's not terribly wide. And one thing to remember is that this axis is definitely going to develop. But whether or not it wiggles north or wiggles south is something we need to keep an eye on, because you can have some fluctuations in where this heavier snow band develops. You can see all of the mountain areas. And as we mentioned yesterday, the upper Green River Basin, parts of the Wasatch Front, southwestern Wyoming, seeing a nice shot of moisture in here. And this is going to be a really good mountain snow event. By Saturday afternoon, here is the extent of the cold air. It's pushing down into northwest Kansas, headed into the panhandles, but you can see the cold draped up against the divide across the northern and central Rockies, and colder back all the way into California, a pretty big deviation from normals by this weekend. By Sunday morning, that upper level low is moving towards the Four Corners, and believe it or not, by Sunday morning, the storm that's here now is all the way into the upper peninsula of Michigan. It moves out very quickly. But this guy is going to come in behind it. It's going to drag in colder Canadian air. So that's what's going to bruise the next round of snow and very cold temperatures Saturday night and Sunday. Now, this is by Wednesday. And this is what we talked about at the beginning of the podcast, that the middle of next week could have a wedge of cold air and snow again. And here it is. We have another vigorous low dropping southeast through Washington, Oregon, and Idaho, dragging with it Pacific moisture. Right here is a pocket of some very cold air, really cold air, for March coming out of British Columbia and Alberta. This is going to slide in, bringing upslope and some very cold air. These are the temperature anomalies by next Thursday. So we've got a lot of purple by the middle of next week. Look at these forecasted low temperatures Thursday morning. Now, I'm not saying we're going to go below zero again, but the European model is showing that there's a hint it could be at least in the single digits, maybe below zero. And when you get to the 10th of March and you're below zero, that's saying something. So this is why we want to stress very strongly to stock growers that this is not just a weekend event, but this is going to be a prolonged spell of colder weather. This is by next Saturday, the 12th of March. Talk about another reversal of fortune. We've got really cold air for this time of year, getting all the way to the Gulf Coast. The entire interior part of the United States by next weekend is colder than normal. Going out to 10 days, we see another wave coming into the Pacific Northwest. We see another wave like this. This is a great pattern for the mountains. We're going to continue to see these waves coming through off the Pacific. And one reason for that, if you look at the sea surface temperature anomaly, we have this patch of cooler than average sea surface temperatures right here, butted up against this warmer patch relative to average right next to it. The gradient between these two temperatures that forms really is a breeding ground for lows up here. And as long as high pressure builds in this warmer water region, which it will, this funnels these systems into the Pacific Northwest, Western Canada, and into the Northern and Central Rockies. That's why we're encouraged that we're going to see our snowpack numbers get better. So if you look at the map here of Wyoming, we've got lots of upper 70s and lower 80s. The green is 90 or above. We see these snowpack numbers going up here in the coming weeks. So we'll use this kind of as a point of reference to where the snowpack has bottomed out. And now we're going to see that get better. And here's a shot in Colorado. So we'll use these numbers. We'll go back to them after a couple of weeks and see where we're at. Have yourself a good Thursday. We'll talk to you on Friday with more updates on the weekend weather.